to an age when thought is free, from the age of Big Brother, from the age of the thought police, from a dead man. Greetings.
And so basically, as we're walking down the street, the two of us, we're walking and it's like all casual, and all of a sudden he just like darts in to like this like little shop that has, it's like kind of open. You walk in and you sit down. It's kind of like this bazaar. It's called Eastern Food Bazaar.
Yeah.
And he walks in there, he sits down, and he just starts eating from the plates that have been left there. Like the people have just stood up and
Yeah.
walked, and he's just stuffing his face. And I go and I sit down opposite him, and I'm like, what the hell? He's like chewing the chicken bones, like eating the rice with his hand. And he's like, yo, I'm so hungry, man. And the next day, like, I get a call from him, and he's like, dude, I'm so sick.
That's a bad trip. Oh.
But he was homeless, that's why. For like, not that, he was out of his mind. But he was one of my greatest teachers, dude. I speak about him from time to time. Remember, I still showed you that podcast I did when I first tried to attempt podcasts. There
When
was
you
another
were,
guy on there.
yeah,
We were like we were just like at this amazing, like, kind of a lounge thing where everybody would gather.
yeah, in Cape
You
Town,
would get there. Yeah, you would get there like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That time I'm like 21, 22. It's like you just have the whole city and this whole world is your oyster. You take taxi, you take train. Nothing really holds you back.
Mm.
And so we would gather there. But yeah, that was my friend, Yasin. And I always did it's I don't know if you know anybody like this. I can only really speak in like my own reality, but
Yeah.
you meet certain people like along the way and you spend time with them, whether it's like 6 months or 8 months,
Yeah.
and like consistently. And so this guy, first he was like my cameraman when I used to go around town like tasting different types of food.
Mhm.
I needed a cameraman and he would do it. And then he was always looking for food, so I would just give him half the food. Because like I said, he was homeless as well, but he was also from like a rich family.
We know a few like that.
I
Okay.
think, yeah, we know a few of those guys.
Yeah.
Such a weird dynamic. But anyway, so for that time, like, dude, I don't know how he did it, but I think his dad would send him money on occasion, and also be like, please get back on your meds. I remember his dad was telling him, like, please get back on your meds.
Yeah.
And I was always like, yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. Like, you don't seem insane, right?
Mm.
And I remember we were at this one very nice, town, dude. Very nice restaurant. It's called Yours Truly. And just once again, where all the youngsters go, 22 to 24, just meeting everybody, Europeans, and just all people from all around the world. And I was there and I was buying a sandwich. And he was like, oh, do you mind to get me something? And I was like, okay, cool. And like, as I'm like telling whoever the person behind the counter was, like, oh, I want that one, I just notice him on the side and he's like, like snapping his fingers.
But
and,
like with real
kind of
effort,
like yeah, looking around like that. And I obviously started getting embarrassed here. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, no, I'm trying to get back. So I'm like, what? He's
Oh,
like, yeah, no, I'm trying to come back. And
yo, that's
I was
like
like,
it.
oh, okay. Now I see what they mean by the meds.
Yeah, you know the thing is like those things when they happen to me, someone might be confused. Like they might think, "Oh man, Mguni's laughing at this person," but um, it's not that I'm laughing at the person. It's just that I wouldn't say nervous, but like like it's
Dude, but I
it,
obviously tell the story funny as well.
yeah, but it
So
is because it is. That's exactly how I would react. Because the thing is like. It's incredible. How can I put it? It's like surreal. Do you understand? So I'm the kind of person when something surreal happens, I laugh. Not because I think, and not because I'm laughing at you, but because the circumstance is surreal. You understand? Like,
it's like, yeah.
what the heck? Like, even if you get what I'm saying, it's like, what are the chances? Like, or this is straight out of a movie kind of thing. But I'm sad. Like, right now, that story, it makes me sad. But like, I have other stories of people where crazy stories like that, and like I told you, I'm just gonna go into it. This story, I was at I'm gonna use the name let's use the name Errol, okay? So you can kind of tell the ethnic persuasion he's
The
from.
colored guy.
Yes, and I'm
Oh, I
at
think I know who
the
you
story,
talking
right?
about.
And a guy that I've known bro, when I was still a kid, I knew this guy, and he now had a wife and kids, and apparently he's being abused by the wife's brothers, something like that.
Abused,
In the
like
sense that,
physically.
yeah, like they'll rob him and stuff. That's what the
Wow.
claim was. They'll just like, he'll go and work as a painter, as a handyman, and they'll just come up and like, yay, clear that dollar, and then like take the money and
Yo, and
stuff.
this is his in-laws.
In laws, yeah. Apparently, right? I don't know how much of this to corroborate. So, the idea was, look, let's give this guy a fresh start for a bit. Go to Botswana. Botswana, you can find nice work, especially for someone like you, you're a tradesman. And not just work like, I don't want to sound derogatory, but like a Zimbabwean or something. You'll get decent job in the nice suburbs.
A
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, you'll get good jobs. Like, you know how it is. There's always a demand for like a proper tradesman, craftsman, because there's very wealthy people in Botswana and areas where you'll get it done. So we're in Belleville at the Home Affairs getting a passport for him, or trying. We're standing in this queue, and it was fine, man. He's talking, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's cool, man. There's no problem with him. And as we now and again, he'll just be like, "Hey, Mguni, who's this guy behind him? Do you know this guy? Do you
Oh,
know this
like
guy?" And
completely
I'm like,
paranoid.
what? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like pointing like with his head like to the person right behind us. I'm like, no, I don't know. And he's like, do you know this guy? I'm like, yo, relax. It's nobody. It's just a dude. It's just a colored dude. Like he's paranoid. He's thinking it's a gangster. They're coming for him. And I'm like, no, it's just a dude. Relax.
Yeah.
And as is typical, there's a network problem. So
Because
people
it's home
disappear.
affairs, of
It's home affairs,
course.
of course. So people leave the line, and something tells me, you know what, we're not gonna move. Let's just stay here and see if network comes back. And true to fact, network comes back, and now the queue's also thinned out. So we like right at the door. We get inside. As we get inside, and we're in those like we're literally about to be called to the desk. And then he just starts fucking talk. He's like, again, like, do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? Nah, man, bro, I gotta go. And he starts walking out the door. And I'm like, to this person who's assisting us at the desk, like, 1 second, we're coming back right now. And I follow him out the door. I'm like, Errol, where you going, dude? Like, it's our turn. It's like, no, me, bro, they're gonna get me. And he starts walking, dude. And I'm with him, right? And the thing is, he's so paranoid. He's making me paranoid now because now I'm feeling like maybe these guys are about to shoot him like any moment, right? And because I know also, you and I both know that they can get you anywhere. Like you're at the tuck shop buying some
Yeah,
airtime, then they just shoot
especially in South
you.
Africa, dude.
You see, you're dropping off your kid at school. You see some homeless looking dude walking by, and suddenly the person shoots you. But I had to ask him, like, who are you for them to put such resources into getting you? Like, you're not selling their drugs. You're not a number. You're just a tradesman who they occasionally beat up to get like your cash, right? Like the unruly
Occasion,
brothers.
dude. It seems like some out of some movie,
Yeah,
dude.
and we ended up walking, dude. This guy, I was trying to calm him down the whole time. We walked all the way from Home Affairs in Belleville Central to Brackenfell, bro. You know that shop, right?
Yo,
When you're coming
yo,
from the
yo.
back end of Durbanville, like, yo, we walked far, bro. I was tired.
What time
Ah,
was that?
middle of the like afternoon, bro.
Well,
Like
obviously,
two to
home affairs, you want to get there early, right? So you're
yes, we've been
waiting
there
for
since
hours and hours.
we've been standing the whole day, my brother. And this guy is
Yeah,
just fucking
look,
talkative.
that's the thing. You know, a lot of people they go undiagnosed, and it's like you say, you don't mean to laugh and whatever, but it's just sad, you know.
Yeah.
Even like going back to my friend who like he just disappeared, dude. And I remember this time. First of all, so what I was basically trying to get to was the fact that we meet these people on our journey in life, and they kind of show us a different avenue of life, like what
Mm.
else is possible out there. You know, especially when you don't have like parents bothering you. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm gone for 4 or 5 days, and no one knows where I am. They don't know that I'm like sleeping in like some digs, you know,
Mm.
just on a small couch on the side of a
Yeah.
digs because, you know, his dad has paid for him for a room, and, you know, and he'll stay there for like a month, you know, and he would like, he'll never wash his clothes. His clothes would always just disappear, but he
What do
would
you mean?
always have the newest clothes on. Yeah, because he wasn't doing laundry and stuff like that, right? So you'd wear something until it was just really reeking, and then the next thing, his parents or whatever would buy him new clothes, and I would see him. I would be like an amazing new like winter coat, dude. I'm like, yo, like where'd you get this? Like, oh yeah, my dad got it for me. Said I'm like, you know, because he was getting cold or whatever. And then he showed me where he used to sleep, right there by the waterfront. There's like this like specific bush that has like a little trench. And then he showed me like his cardboard box that he found, like he put in there. He's like, yeah, if you lie in, he's like, if you ever need a place to sleep, I give you permission to use my spot. And I was just like, oh boy, like he's
But
like, if
it's
you
it's
lie
it's
in
it's actually
there,
quite sweet. But I'm just like, yes, you see,
yeah,
like
no,
you're
no,
saying,
but
it's
it's just I'm
uh,
very fortunate to have been able to meet the people I've met in my
yeah,
life and also not judging them. Because I
that's
know
the
so
thing.
many people who would be like, oh, this
Ew.
guy's insane. I'm not going to hang out with him. But in my mind, like, I value curiosity a lot, dude.
Mm.
So I want to see, okay, what's on the other end of this? Like,
And also, why not respect him? I mean, just because he is objectively perhaps not so sane, right? Why place that judgment? Because at the end of the day, and I'm not saying this is the real state of things, but who, how often do we really think that? I mean, if someone came here from with no knowledge of the systems that we have in place, get a home loan, get a job, pay the home loan, get a car, buy new clothes, etc., etc. Why would uh My goodness. Why would you think that?
Yeah.
Why would you think that those things are necessary? You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
someone with no
you wouldn't
prior
know any better, right?
yeah, and thinking, hey, this is great. Like you sleep here for free. You can do the things that you want to do and move about, and uh, that's it. You know what I mean?
Like, but I think one of the biggest key factors there is family, right? It's a huge deal. Like if you don't have family, you're lost, dude. Like because remember, even when you're getting a job and stuff like that, it's nice to have a family member. I'm gonna crash on your couch while I'm even working at this job so that I can have the money and get a place so long. If you don't have that, how are you? What are you gonna go live in a shelter or something? Um, and basically, what he was saying was that those are some of the most dangerous places to go to. Um, it's one of the more dangerous places to go to
Mm.
is the shelters because that's where you have certain groups of people who rob the others.
Yeah.
Um, but I do
Tell us,
remember the one.
yeah, describe a little bit more. Um,
Yeah,
2 second,
so
2 minutes.
Oh yeah, so that's what happened. Me and him go out with another friend of mine. We go to this club, but we didn't actually want him to go with because we had planned it, and he was just kind of like straggling along, and it was like we're trying to go to this nice like upmarket club where you have to go in with a shirt on and square toe shoes and nice jeans, and he didn't have that type of garb on him, and so he comes with us anyways. And yeah, basically we get to the entrance,
Mm-hmm.
and we're standing there at the entrance, and obviously the bouncer now says, "Hey, you can't get in here." And yeah, basically you can't get in here, and because of the clothes that he's wearing. He's wearing like these other these like weird shoes, almost like skateboarding shoes, and we have square toes on.
Mm-hmm.
And like we started walking away, and I allegedly had some LSD in the system. So my brain is busy like thinking of all these like possibilities of what we can do.
Mm.
And I see the car guard there, and the car guard basically, I see him wearing square toe shoes. And so I tell my friend, I'm like, dude, like, how badly do you want to get in here?
Mm.
Like, swap shoes with the car guard. Swap shoes with the car guard. And then, go into the
But
club.
is the top like fine, like the upper body?
The upper body is fine. He's got jeans. Like, the shirt was okay, and it was just the shoes,
Mm.
and he swaps with the car guard, dude. And I was like, yo, okay, heavy. We go into this club. It was so strange.
Yeah,
It
but
was a
that's
bunch of these.
legit. It worked, right?
No, it was perfect.
Okay.
So we go into this club, and it's just this like, it's so weird, dude. There's all these like young chicks, I guess, from like 18 upwards, but not even like, it was a weird scene. I was like, huh, what's going on here?
What
And then there
made it
was a
so weird?
bunch of these old guys, because there was a bunch of these old men who were sitting at like this one table where I wouldn't say it was VIP, but you could kind of like, you weren't allowed to go there really. Old dudes, bro.
White hair.
um Gray, bunch of like colored guys, dude, and they all just talking to each other there, and they now and then they look out. And I remember I was talking to this one chick, like dancing with her and stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, this girl is like really pretty." um and I'm not sure what happened, but the next thing I'm busy looking for her, and I look into the room there. Not even the room, it's just like that area, and she's literally sitting on that old man's lap. And I can see him like poking and prodding her and like giving her a sip of his drink. And I'm like, what is this, dude?
Dude,
Like, and I was just like, let's get out of here. Because now they start looking at you like, what, do you have a problem? And then in my head, all I could think about was, oh, these are like old gangsters or something. And they have some setup here that, that they obviously into. But the thing is, dude,
yeah.
like when we got outside and he got his shoes back, bro.
They reeked.
He just projectile vomited like in the bush there. Like the smell was
Oh,
so horrendous. Like, and he's like, dude, he pulled his socks off. He was running around barefoot. He's like, I can't get the smell off. It's on my hands now. Like,
bro. But just speaking to what you're talking about, that's of course it's Cape Town, so it could very well be that it's gangsters. But even like in Botswana, you go to clubs, and you'll find men who look like 50, literally 50, and obviously now they're 50. They've got jobs and they've had jobs for a while. So they've got homes and cars and they have some cash. Now there's a big problem in Botswana with youth unemployment specifically, right?
yeah,
And so basically you've got people in a club, brought to you by today's sponsor. You've got youth in this clubs. Some of them don't have a lot of cash for drinks, right? They're on this budget. You've got an older man who's got the Beamer or the Mercedes or the Audi. He's got cash for drinks and stuff. And they're like groping these young chicks, right? And I mean, it never bothered me because I mean, I had whatever, like,
you had
you
your
know,
own young chicks.
no, not. But I had my own means. Let me put it that way, right? And anyway, I don't want to give away
Their
my
wives or
I,
whatever.
I don't want to give away my whole vibe before I was a married man, but the point is
Okay, yeah,
it wasn't competition for me, but I would laugh. I'd even tell some of the girls like, "Oh, that's so nice. Is that your father?" And they're
yeah.
laughing, like they know the whole gig. Like, this is an old man, I'm young, but he's got the means to provide a good time, and they just groping this girls like, and
Dude, and
it's
those
so
old guys,
disrespectful.
they just grab like the nipples like right through the dress. Like where you're just like, what type of game is this, dude? You know? Um and yeah, it's just it's a weird way to paint the picture to people.
Mm.
Especially people who are basically inexperienced in life. Like if you tell them or if you ask them how do you think things work, right? It would be like, oh, when you're in high school, you have um, girlfriends and boyfriends that are in your high school, right?
Mm.
Or people your same age in your neighborhood. And then when you go to college, it's the same thing, or university, the people that's your age and the scenes that you hang out in. Those are like the people that you'll start dating and
Mm.
stuff.
Mm.
And
But
as you become older, you become a a full fledged adult, and you work in a job, and maybe even meet your work wife at work.
mm.
But it's really not that at all, dude.
No, it's not.
And when you
You,
actually show someone, no, this is actually what's going on here. Like forget what the law says. There's a reality that, like, the law will kind of catch you at a point, but until then, people are doing all kinds of
I
stuff, dude.
wouldn't say the law. Okay, I know what you're trying to say. Maybe like the law in terms of like minors and stuff like that. But okay, for example, my wife's teacher told her class apparently straight when they were in high school, like, none of your husbands, aren't in this class, right? And he told the boys, your wives are still doing like grade 5 right now, because he
Yeah.
was basically trying to say that's what the age gap will most likely be. And of course, what I find very interesting is, like, once you're older, so like when a man's 30, chances are he's going to end up with a woman who's like 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There's going to be like a 3 to 4 year gap between them. Chances are. That's in Botswana and in South Africa. But in Germany, at least from what I see, especially when I'm having discussions with my peers and people who are even older than me, um, I don't know if it's frowned upon or if it's some kind of ideal. For example, I have a friend who's 50 and he keeps saying like he really wants to be with this someone who's his age, right? Who's his
I
age.
remember you told me about
Yeah,
this.
and I keep telling him like, but Daniel, you got to understand, like, the chances are the woman that's going to be for you will be like 4 years, yeah, 4, 5, maybe 10 years younger, because you still enjoy, like, you've got a good job and everything, but you still enjoy like that VR car racing, you know, you
Yeah.
still your
You still got
whole
that youth in you.
you still have like a whole youth in you. And realistically, a woman who's 50, she's actually way
She's
more,
done.
she's done with all of that. Like, it's not realistic. Like, I know you're looking for someone who's exactly your age, but that's so narrow. Like, most of the women your age, they're already married with kids, right?
And if they
Or,
not, there's like something's wrong here, in my opinion.
okay,
You
in your
know,
opinion, yeah, let me not put it that way, but there's things like
not
divorce or
wrong. I
whatever.
mean, like, let's look into this as to why. And I'm not saying like divorced or something. I'm saying someone who has never been
Oh,
as a woman.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
to me is always like, okay, let's find out why.
Right? Because it means
Um,
that you never felt the need to be committed. Like, maybe you're just not the commitment type. You're
yeah, so
not.
why would I waste time with someone who was never interested in that?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
do I really need another friend? Like, come on.
Yeah, you see, you're looking for like a partner, right? A wife or a life partner. So chances are, and anyways, it just makes sense because statistically, if you open yourself up to an age gap, you are looking for, you have better odds. Like, now, the chances of you finding someone are 1 in 100 instead of 1 in 10,000. You see, because
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'll accept anything. But anyway, this is and
Look,
even with the people my
it's a
age,
very touchy subject for
it
most
is,
people.
it
Because as
is.
soon as you bring it up, they say, why are you asking that? What's it mean to you? Like,
Not even, they think it's gross. Like, oh, 9 years younger. Like, why is it gross? Why is it gross? Like,
that's a baby. That's a baby. Like, and it's like, it's really just to break you down. But you're
but
like,
yeah, but look at this fact. I am 37. I've got a friend who's 50, and we're talking on the same level. So clearly, at some point, we're all over a benchmark. You understand? We all have like the the scabs from life and things. It's, you can't say like, oh, you're just a small boy. Like, no, chances are your boss is like 20 years younger than you. You understand? That's a reality. You're gonna be 50 years old and your boss is like 35. So if he's old
but for
enough to be
some
your boss,
reason,
why is he why is someone who's 35 then not good enough to be your equal in your relationship? I don't know.
But then that's the thing. When someone is 22, 21, right? Then it's immediately like, oh, you're a cradle snatcher or whatever they call it. They use these terms.
I would,
And so at what point, I mean, we've discussed this before. I've told you my perspective on it, and I'll say it again. You don't know what rapport you're going to build with a certain individual, right? So, and I always use the example: you're a business guy. I'm a business guy. Okay. You go to a certain coffee shop. That's where you do some of your work in the morning. You have your breakfast and stuff. They obviously have their staff. Over time, you build rapport with maybe one of the waitresses who's maybe a little younger, like 22 or something. Say if you like I mean, I've seen some crazy numbers. We don't have to go into what people I actually know of, but let's just say the guy's
you
45.
can say you're talking about me. Okay, whatever.
No, dude. And yeah, basically, this thing happens, and then one thing leads to another, and they're dating. But that doesn't mean that he only goes for like people of that age.
Yeah.
You see, those are the guys. When people say that, I'm like, okay, this is some type of thing that you probably need to deal with. You
Like
know,
it's a problem with
I only date 20-year-olds, but the
yeah,
guy's
yeah,
like
yeah.
50. Then I'm like, okay, you've got some issue, because
Yes.
I can say as well that I've dated women 20 years older than me. Not dated, that's dated is like very strong, but spent a lot of time with in
Uh,
many different ways.
uh,
And you know, people were also looking at me strange, right? When I would tell them that. Um, and obviously I can see why, but it's not like it was just this one person, you
yes.
know, this lady who was quite wealthy, and, you know, she even had a son. And it's the dynamic is always weird when
And you'd
you
go to the
play
bar
like,
with with the son.
no, he was like a lot younger than that, but
Okay,
a
okay.
teenager. But it's always the dynamic is always weird when you kind of playing the step dummy, um, and you actually like build rapport with the kid as well. You know, you hear about it. Oh, when's he coming over again? Oh, I want to show him the new game I got,
Mm,
or whatever it is. Or my thing was always martial arts. Like I could always teach someone how to like kind of defend themselves. And
mm,
obviously you see like the mom's face would just completely light up, you know.
mm.
um but I think where I kind of like checked out was when she was like, oh, I can't believe it, I lost a tooth today. And I was like, oh boy. But
Yeah. Then you're like, now I'm starting to notice
I
the
was like,
age thing a
I
bit.
was like, okay, there's like an age thing here.
Dude,
But
is it?
dude, but she was cool because she would even say stuff like, "Oh, there's this one intern at work who I was when I saw her, I was thinking you and her would be a perfect fit," type of thing. When they start talking like that, you go, "Oh boy!" Like sometimes
Mm,
sometimes you catch yourself like sitting on the couch, like watching TV. You
mm.
kind of look around and you go like, "How did I get into this?"
Bro, as you know, I'm like I'm alone with my daughter here for a bit. Because my wife's
That's why
got a
you're so
Sunday shift.
distracted the whole
That's why I'm
time.
so distracted a bit. Um, there's like three things I desperately want to speak to you about. But before that, do you have a crazy story you can tell for like 3 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Dude, you keep jumping up and down.
I've got to. I've got to.
I mean, look, I did
Then I'll
ask
be
you.
Yeah.
is there going to be any interruptions? And you were like, no, like 'cause everything is so fine and dandy.
I'm
And
quite
it's
sure
supposed
I
to
didn't
be
say that.
every 5 minutes.
Okay. Look.
What I'm saying is, I can try conjure up a story, but I need like,
Okay.
I like the reaction.
Okay. Here's something
Let
I
me
want you.
just.
Here's something I want you to
I
talk
want to.
about. Here's something
Okay,
I want to
go for
talk about. I saw. I think you sent it to me. An interesting slash disappointing debate. If you can even
it. Look,
call it a
that one I
debate.
can't. I don't want to like. That we have to do it together. All
Okay.
my stories is like I need to be telling someone.
Okay, so
Another thing, let's just cut this out. Go do your thing. We'll just cut it out in
okay.
post and then
Okay.
get back to it.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Just remember the time.
Yeah, no stress.
No, so that we
S
know when to cut out.
yeah, sorry about this interruption. But listen, I really want to
No,
talk
but
about,
there is something that I want to talk about
is this
before
related
we
to the
get there.
scream?
The scream.
You sent me a scream reminder.
Yes, this is literally that exact thing.
Okay. Let's hear it.
It's a cool story that like really happened to me, and I even went out that night, or was it the night after? So obviously, like the waterfront, the one closer to my place, where one of our buddies lives, right?
Absolutely. I know what you mean.
Or you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And so it's on the water, right? The restaurant is on the water. And I went there afterwards with like this one chick and some of her friends, and I was telling them the story, and they were just completely fascinated by it. So it was a weird. So I've got like a lot of wealthy friends, obviously. So I've been able to enjoy a lot of these perks. And so I'm at his place over there, and it's a good time. And basically, there's a job that is happening the next day where, um, in terms of construction, waterproofing, and so basically, he's organizing that, but we're having drinks and stuff, we're braaiing, barbecuing.
At
It's a
the
good time.
restaurant,
No, the restaurant is where I was the night
telling the
after, telling
story.
them what
Okay.
happened on the night before. It was a Friday when this happened, and then Saturdays when I went out with them. And everything is cool, and he's like, "Oh yeah, checks. There's these other two guys who are gonna arrive here now. They're gonna be helping to do the job." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know where they're gonna. Like, I'm not planning on staying there, type of thing, right?" So these two guys come in, dude, and the one guy is just like this tiny dude with like this long hair and like this beard, like this white guy. And immediately I notice he's barefoot. And I'm like, okay,
Not
cool.
so
And then he's with,
strange for that. Okay, but
yeah, no, not for where I'm from, right?
yeah.
Then there's this other guy who's walking with him, dude. Looks like a absolute ogre, dude. Like Igor, just like slow and like looks like Neanderthaler. Just big forehead and big brows, just like slowly walking around, looking left and right. I'm like, huh. It's like, so it's these two white guys, and I'm like, this is interesting. And but I noticed the guy's hands and feet, the smaller dude, it's just pitch black, right? Up to his ankles. It's just pitch black. And I know what the product is. It's essentially bitumen. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you use in waterproofing. You get primer, and it's basically the stuff if you go to like a tar road on a really hot day, and you'll see like there's this black sticky stuff. That's bitumen. It's the waterproofing.
What you
Anyways,
mean, bitch?
so bitch, you mean what? And his hands and feet are covered in it. And I'm like,
Uh,
what job was this guy doing? You know, like he did the job barefoot with no gloves.
are you supposed
And
to
I was
do
like,
that?
of course not, dude.
Okay.
Like, how are you gonna get that off? You
Mm,
know, that's dude, you know, that only comes off when your cells fall off. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It
yeah, yeah.
like you can use some type of acid or something, but good luck, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I see these guys and I'm like, oh, these are your dudes. He's like, yeah. Um, I'm like, okay, cool. And they come to the front, and then my friend's like, hey, there's a room for you guys. The spare, it's obviously it's luxury house. It's like there's a room for you guys. Come grab a shower as well, you know, because you're gonna be working tomorrow. And this guy's like, no, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. I'm fine outside. Don't worry about me. I'm fine outside.
What does it
I'll
mean
find
fine
my
outside?
corner.
To sleep
Like,
outside?
yeah, like he's okay. Like, don't worry about him. He'll find a place outside, which was actually under the car, which was pretty interesting.
What the fuck are
Um,
you talking about?
the
Mike,
the car that
are you talking
was
about
like
slavery? What are you saying?
no,
What
the
is
car
that?
that was most recently used, and I mean even the engine was still warm. So, anyways,
Maybe that's
and then
why. Okay, continue.
yeah, like a cat, you know how cats do that. But yeah, so the other guy, the ogre-looking dude, the little guy says, he can go in, like he can do it, right? So we go in. This guy follows us. He goes and has a shower, and then he comes out, like, and we sitting there, a fire roaring. Um, Now my friend has this giant sword that we use to, like, you know, knock up the wood so that the coals can be like distributed properly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just dude, a giant sword, like Excalibur type deal. And this guy comes and he sits out there. He just has this stupid looking smile on his face. Like looking around like that. And I'm like, what type of the hills have eyes? Like people are you bringing here, dude?
Yeah.
Because he literally looked like those hillbillies, bro. And then my friend's like gives the guy a beer, and I'm like, "Ah, why are you giving the guy? He's the help. Like,
Oh,
why are you giving this
Mikey,
guy
why are you so
booze?
condescending like that?
No, dude, you don't understand. There's a reason for it, right?
Okay.
First of all, you don't know what someone is dealing with. What if he's like gone sober or something, right?
Oh, he didn't
Um,
ask, do you want to be? He just gave him the
no, he
beer.
just gave him the beer, and then not just that, he even racked him a bong.
Ooh,
And
you
I
don't
was
know
like,
how people
"What?"
change, bro. Okay, okay.
That's the
I
thing.
hear what you're saying.
That was my point. But also, why I'm saying it's the help is like this is not your friend. You know, um, like maybe I'm a bit harsh on the beer thing, but my thought was we don't know this guy from a bar of soap. He doesn't even know a bar of soap, but now he's here, and so he hits the bong, dude. Like he hits it, and he's like, he kind of looked like Elon Musk on Rogan, just like,
Jeez. Okay.
like, and I was like, okay, whatever. So it is what it is. Um, and I tell this to my friend. I'm like, dude, like, you can't just do this with people you don't know. They can have some type of psychosis or something. And he's like, yeah, I wasn't thinking. Obviously, we were boozing and stuff.
Hmm.
And then, um,
And it probably wasn't like Jaja J as well. It was like hard chronic.
dude, we're talking about the good stuff.
Yeah, that can be dangerous.
And
Like you, yeah, okay.
so then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. And then it was my friend and his sister, and they
Hmm.
maybe it was me who put it in their heads, but they were like completely paranoid. And they're like, no, dude, you must stay. I'm like, why? It's like,
You're the only one who knows jujitsu. Please,
you know what I'm
Mikey.
saying? They're like, no, you have to
Mm.
just sleep over, man. You can go in the morning. And I'm like, nah, dude, why? And literally, he puts the guy in
Wait,
the
that's
room
such a
right
Mikey thing to
opposite
do.
him.
First, he plants the seed of doubt, and then he's like, "Yeah, so I'm just gonna let you deal with this." That's a typical Mikey thing. You fucking instigator. Okay, continue.
And then basically, the guy's in the room right opposite his room. And I'm like,
Okay.
dude, you've got so many rooms here. Why are you putting him right here? And then he's just like, so I'm like, okay, fine. Because even his sister's like, no, you can't. You have to protect us. And then
He
I don't know
said that.
why,
She
for
literally
some,
said that.
she said that. But
Okay.
she was obviously honeypotting me, like, oh,
Okay.
you're this such a strong whatnot. You'll protect us.
Mm,
Like you're dangerous. Like you're more dangerous than him, type of
mm.
thing. Because you're brown,
Yeah.
whatever. Because that's what it kind of was, right? Like you guys know how to deal with these things.
Mm.
And so now I'm just like I can't sleep, obviously. So I'm just like in the room there. Um, we're
Standing
just
guard.
like we're just like sitting there, and then at some points I'm trying to like close my eyes a bit on the chair by the PC, and then all of a sudden we hear like doop doop doop, right?
A
Just
knock.
bang on the door,
Uh-huh.
and like I remember my friend's face. He looks up at me immediately, and we're like, "Why is this dude coming to the room so at this time? It's like 3:30 in the morning now." And then we're just like, "Is everything okay, brother?" You know. And
Go in peace.
he's busy mumbling there. He's like, and dude banging on the door so hard, bro. And I'll try and make the story a little bit shorter.
Mm,
Um,
but it's
he
good so
bangs
far.
on the door, and then we open it, and he's like, dude, he's staring through the crack like that. He's like, I'm just going to go outside and have a cigarette. And
What?
we're like, yeah, okay, dude. Like, you know where the sliding door is. He's like, I'm just going to enjoy a little cigarette, right? And so he
Yeah.
walks out, but now in the passage, my friend had all these like a collage of photos of his whole family, and from when they were kids and
Mm.
grown up. I think you've seen it before. You've been there, and we're watching him through the door, and like he walks there, and like he turns, and he's like, "Oh, I actually remember. I think my friend gave him a cigarette."
Mm.
Um, and so he stops there, and he's staring there at the pictures, and we're like, "Is everything all right there, brother?" And he looks back, and he's like, "Such a beautiful family, very very beautiful family." And he's like looking around like this with like this, and I was just like, "Bro, who is this guy? Like, how do you know him?" And he's like, "I don't know them. They called today and they arrived. They said they could help." And I was just
Mm.
like, what are you doing, bro? You don't know these people. They in your house now, um, staring at pictures of your family.
Mm.
So he goes outside.
Mm.
We close the door again, and I'm just like, the sword is outside. He's got a weapon now. Excalibur.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but my friend, he's got a bunch of stuff in his cupboards, bro.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, so you're quite sorted.
Mm.
Just click click. Like, okay, it's fine. Um, and we hear the sliding door again, and then it's just quiet, and his bedroom door isn't closing or opening, and so we're like, what is? So he's like, go check, go check. You know, because his sister is in her own room, but she's locked the door. But he's
Obviously.
obviously like, wants to make sure. Dude, we open the door and this guy's there by the photos again, um, just staring. And then my friend was like, "Hey, get to bed now." Oh yes, just such a beautiful family, great
Yeah.
family. Dude, and eventually goes to bed. So it didn't turn out to be anything. But then in the morning, we heard like chaos outside. Some guy was screaming, dude. I will not accept it. I do not support this. And like, so we run outside there. And it's this other guy, the little one, and he's got his arms folded like that. And he's pointing to the ground. He's like, I would not support this. And we're like, calm down. What's going on? He's like, I read the labels of your product. I'm not against, these are not green products.
What?
I'm taking my, I don't know what stuff, but I'm taking my leave. Um, and I'm just thinking, like, dude, you're covered in product.
What are you
Like,
talking about?
what are you talking about, dude?
Did you think that was green bitumen?
I don't know what he was saying, dude, but he was like talking about specific chemicals in the product, saying how he doesn't, it's against his beliefs. Um and apparently he had only met that guy, that Igor dude, while walking, I think like 6 hours to my friend's place from like the middle of nowhere. Met this other guy on the road, brought him to the house over there. Um, but it just reminded me of like how horror movies are, right? Like,
Yeah, you guys,
because of these dumb things people do.
that's a stupid situation, bro. And no one double checked, like, okay, you've got perfect strangers in your house. That's interesting.
And the other guy doesn't want to come inside. He's okay with being outside. The bigger guy, the bigger burly guy's inside. Such a lovely family, beautiful family. And you're just like,
Hmm.
yo,
Yeah, brother, like people are going through things, man. What can you say? I don't want to, like, I would hate to judge those guys because I mean, at the end of the day, they deserve humanity, of course. But I mean, the way you described it, it's dangerous. I mean, we live in a sick world, right? Um, even if even if someone has gone through trauma and we can understand why they are the way they are, uh, it still doesn't mean that we have to jeopardize ourselves, right? Our own safety. Um, anyone will tell you this. Police will tell you this. I mean, that's why they have regulations and procedures, because they're like, okay, we understand you want to go and help people, or should be wanting to help people, but at the same time, you also have to protect yourself, because people are harm to themselves and to others. And it sounds like those two fellows were homeless before, or are currently homeless, having some mental issues. Yeah,
dude,
that's
I'm just
crazy.
like, this is why I always tell people, when you're younger, just go work at all different kinds of jobs. Not for like job experience, okay? I'm just talking about life. You get to see all these pockets of how reality operates, and you're not so stuck in a bubble. I know so many people who have turned down great jobs where you're like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you don't know what the one thing will lead to and the people you will meet, or
Because like, oh, I don't
the
want to
reason.
work in Dubai. And it's like, dude, they want to pay
You
you
know what I mean? It's like,
30,000 AED. What is it, like Arabian Emirati dollars or whatever? Um, because you have this idea of I don't know, they're gonna abuse me, or
Not
you
even
know,
that, dude.
I'm
It's just
leaving my
I don't do that type of work, type of thing. You're
mm.
like, anyways, but there's something I wanted to say. But
I
the one
won't.
thing I will
Yeah,
say is
yeah.
those chicks that I told the next day, dude, they were just like, dude, you know, they love the true crime stuff. You know,
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of women love the
We
true
love it.
crime stuff.
Love it. In
And so
fact,
when
I'm
they
gonna
were
tell
listening
Susan
to
about this
this,
story, or I'm gonna show
when
her
they
like,
were when they were like listening to it, they were like, "Oh my goodness!" And then what happened? And then what happened?
so no one died.
Uh,
Ah,
yeah,
like,
it's like, oh, I thought you said it was a good story.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I even prefaced it with, no, this was a weird thing that happened, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. Um,
but
Look, I
yeah,
won't let you get off the hook though, because I still wanted to talk to you about. I want to hear your comments on that whole Sneako had a debate or a discussion. I don't even want to call it a debate because Sneako did a horrible job, but Sneako had a talk with this Rabbi Yosef Mizraki. Um,
yeah, he's
I'll be honest,
like,
I couldn't get through the whole thing
why not,
because
bro? You were down
no, the
yesterday.
guy
You had
was.
the chance.
I mean, this Yosef Mizraki was saying some things that I know aren't true, come off as propaganda. Um, you know, you
Give an
know that
example of what part.
where he's talking about many Muslims and Christians are converting to Judaism because they realize the truth of the Torah, and then he starts talking about how it's impossible for Muhammad to be a prophet because prophecy had already stopped 900 years before that with Micah. Oh no, 1300 years or 900 years before that with Micah, the last prophet, um, and then jumping to we're waiting for the Messiah to come, but like ignoring the fact that in the same Tanakh or in the same Jewish books, I think it was Jeremiah or Isaiah, he clearly says, like, it's clearly said that the Messiah will come before the destruction of the second temple. And the second temple is already destroyed. It was destroyed in 70 AD. So how are you still expecting the Messiah? I mean, either he's come or he hasn't come, but it's done. Like we can count the number of temples, right? First temple, Solomon, it was destroyed. Second temple was built, it was destroyed. So he's doing this Rabbi Mizraki, in my opinion, he's doing this thing where he puts prophecy on the one hand and then just like skips over parts of the prophecy and then like goes, you see, we're waiting. Like he's swapping and swapping parts that push his narrative. Um, I'm not saying that he's lying about many Muslims converting to Judaism. Um, I tend to agree with him that I
And
personally
he said like
don't.
1,000 Christians as well.
Yeah, he also says that he says it's impossible for a person who can't read or write to be a prophet. I don't think Muhammad was a prophet for my own reasons. I don't think that
Alayhi salam.
I don't think the reason I don't think that being able to read or write is a good enough reason to say someone cannot be a prophet. You know what I mean? Um, but okay, fine, if that's one of your reasons. And of course, he considers all Christians to be
Idol worshippers.
idol worshippers, right? Uh, and then Sneako
Look,
does a terrible
yeah,
job
yeah.
of discussing. Sneako does a terrible job of just talking about the points. I mean, he seems to be on some kind of paranoid spiral. He's talking about Mossad and he's anti-Zionist rhetoric, and he just doesn't take this rabbi to task about things. Clearly, because he doesn't know the Quran, and he doesn't even know the Tanakh or the Torah. So I don't know why he's
Look,
wasting our
that's
time.
the thing. A lot of people, like Muslim people, say he's not our mouthpiece. You know, the thing is, he's like a famous guy who goes into these debates, who will literally, like, during the debate, will literally start googling stuff. You know, so yeah, like when it comes to Sneako, it's I just look at it like content, right? Um, just a dude who's a content creator, and some would even just say he's a grifter, you know. Um, and I'm not gonna attack him personally, but it's yeah, I'll leave that. But what I thought was interesting was,
By the way, I just wanted to bring
you
this in.
know,
Did you know the difference between the Torah and the Tanakh? The Torah is essentially the first 5 books of Moses, right? Genesis,
yeah,
Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And the Tanakh is the 5 books plus the Nevi'im, so the prophets. So, for example, including Josiah,
Isaiah,
Jeremiah, Isaiah, and then the Ketuvim, which is like Psalms, Proverbs, Job, and some other things. So just
Joel.
so that we have that, because I for a second now I thought I was very sure of that, and then I just googled it quickly to make sure. I don't want to talk out the side of my neck,
Yeah,
but yeah.
so he did say something that I asked you the last time,
Mm.
and I was confused about that, which was the whole genealogy thing, where I was like, why do they build up this whole thing from literally from Adam? They build this genealogy, but then Jesus comes from Mary.
No, from uh Jesus comes from, remember, legally, if you're adopted, and I know there's a lot of rabbis who are like, Jesus is from Mary, so he's got nothing to do with the house of David, blah blah blah. But
Because that's what I asked you the last time, because I was like, it's interesting how they go through this whole thing, and you're like, you would imagine that Mary's from that line, but it's not. It's just some random chick, actually.
no,
Uh,
but you see, you
and
have
then
to.
you were explaining something about um, yeah, I can't remember what you were saying, but that guy actually brought that up, and I was like, huh, I actually said this the last time, and he was making that same point. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that again, because
Well,
I forgot what you said was the reason behind it.
here's the thing that people forget: Jesus, biologically and legally, is descendant from David. So, Mary, his mother, is also a descendant of David, but through a different line, through the son Nathan. Through
I think
Nathan's,
you're gonna want to double check that,
yeah,
dude,
through Nathan. Let me check.
because I don't.
Okay,
Otherwise,
okay, okay. Let me
that
just
guy
do this.
wouldn't say that, right?
Yeah, but he will say
That
anything,
rabbi.
because he will say anything. Let's be honest, because they they can't even say Jesus' name. They say Jesus Christ. But let me just
Well, they say JC.
yeah, you see, how is okay, how's Jesus from the house of David? Um
No, the question is,
okay, hold
how
on.
is Mary?
Yeah, yeah, but we will get there, because obviously, let me do one more thing quickly here.
You should
Um
just go like, is
Look,
Mary from the
Jesus
genealogy?
is a he we got to answer from AI. Jesus is a descendant of King David through both his legal father, Joseph, and his biological mother, Mary. This dual lineage firmly links him to the Davidic line required for the Messiah. Legal lineage, Joseph. The Gospel of Matthew traces Jesus' royal heritage through Joseph, his adoptive father. In ancient law, legal adoption was sufficient to grant all paternal inheritance rights. That's one thing I wanted to tell you. It's if you say this is my son adoptive, then it's legally he has the full share of inheritance and everything. He's your son. They don't say, he's kind of, it's very
The
binding,
bastard boy, Jon Snow.
right? It's binding. And then biological lineage through Mary. The Gospel of Luke traces Jesus' physical biological descent from David through Mary's lineage, while Matthew's genealogy and Luke's genealogy detail slightly different sets of ancestors. Both point back to the house of David, establishing Jesus as the rightful heir to the Davidic throne. I could swear there was something through a different son of, but anyway, my point being, they don't recognize that because they'll say something like he was supposed to be born of the Spirit, and the Spirit is not in the house of David or is not in the line of David. Some stupid argument like this I've heard before. Is that sufficient to you? Do you feel like that's an answer to your question, or?
I mean, I don't really have a question on it. I'm just more thinking like when I had another read through that kind of stuck out at me. Like, why did we go through all of this? Like, wouldn't you do this genealogy for Mary? You know?
But you can hear
Yeah,
that
so
there
that's,
is a genealogy for Mary as well given.
but it's not important. You know, it's like, oh, by the way, she's also from there, from some other dude that we haven't, but we're not focusing on that.
Look, you can have. It's difficult to discuss this without also trying to understand the incentive, the motive for denying Jesus Christ, right? For denying his divinity. Modern rabbinic Judaism, its core, or we can say its core founder, who really transformed Judaism globally, was Maimonides, who was around in like the year 1200.
It's Maimonides.
Maimonides, yeah, right? A Jewish intellectual who really, he authored the Mitzvah Torah. It's called the Mitzvah Torah, and several other legalistic books that interpret the Tanakh and the Torah. And those are paramount. They are like indispensable to modern rabbinic Judaism. So we have to understand and he was very much, and understandably so, he had a much closer relationship to the Muslim world because he was living in the Muslim world and he had good stature and position in the Muslim world. And at the same time, in Western Europe, in Christendom, right, in Western Christendom, they were persecuting Jews left, right, and center. So there's this deep disdain for Christians and the way they've been marginalizing Jews. And I fully understand that. I get it. Like, I would also have a chip on my shoulder about that. I still, in fact, have a chip on my shoulder, even though I have many white Afrikaans and English friends. Certain things in history, it comes through. I have a chip on my shoulder about what they did to indigenous people, not just in Africa, but the world over. But I think it's dangerous to let that cloud your reason. I mean, like I said, we have prophecies, not in the Christian Bible, but in the Jewish scripture that clearly set out conditions for the arrival of the Messiah. And one of the key prophecies clearly places the arrival of the Messiah before the destruction of the second temple. Now, the second temple has been destroyed. It was destroyed in 70 AD, which means that the possibility for the Messiah, the real Messiah coming now, it's over. Even if you say to yourself, I don't believe it's Jesus Christ, you have to accept the fact that he has already come, right? Secondly, the idea that the Messiah is the Son of God is not, and even the title Son of Man, it's not new. It's from the prophecies, right? There's a reason that when Jesus said, I'm the Son of Man, that they wanted to stone him. It's because kings and prophets like David himself, they've always been referring to us as little gods. We are the sons of God. We are the children of God. But to say you are the son of man is a specific title that associates you with being the Messiah. And that's why they wanted to stone Jesus when he started talking like that. So,
Yeshua.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Like
And
you
then
just
another
can't
thing
glaze
that,
over that.
because it's Jesus, it's a made up name.
Yeshua.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeshua is
actually,
the real name.
it's probably even more dangerous than anything else. But
Mm.
another thing that he was saying was, he's like, look at all the human error
The Quran.
in the New Testament. Like,
No, you're saying Quran.
no, you're saying in the New Testament, and which was interesting because I did, and you can look this up if you want,
Yeah,
but
gladly.
there's a thing where I'm not sure which gospel it's in, but it's after he resurrects and he's walking there, and then it says something about the 12 disciples, but Judas had already hung himself at that point. You can check, you can look into it. This is just what some guy was actually saying.
Okay, so what, like Jesus? But
Just type in what was there a mistake in one of the gospels about writing 12 disciples instead of 11?
after, okay, what I
So when he said, "Oh, there's a bunch of human error in that text," it reminded me of that thing where that guy was saying. But I never looked into it because I'm not really
okay.
I'm not really fascinated. I don't, dude, even these debates and stuff. I don't, it's just like a bunch of people just arguing with each other the whole time, dude.
That it's I also
And my
feel the
and your
same
mirror
way.
neurons are gonna adapt to that, and then you're not gonna be able to have like dopamine won't be able to be released unless you are engaging with in arguments or watching other people argue.
Yeah,
Your neural pathways will sync
yeah.
if
I
you
mean,
keep watching that type of content.
I mean, I think that there's at the end of the day, right? These accounts, whether it's the Old Testament or the New Testament, they are written by human beings. And they were transmitted over thousands of years, right? Which means that perfect transcription or transference is very unlikely when you have thousands of years. So if you're looking for an error, you know, here it was this word, here it was that word, here the story account is slightly different. You know, even if you look at the genealogies in Genesis, you're gonna miss the point here, right? Because people have been trying to share with you a story. The way I always see it is, I'm a father. I have this journey with a higher force, this relationship, and I take the time to write down for my children, look, I really want you to know this relationship I've had with a higher power, right? I want to tell you about my personal journey when I prayed and my prayer was fulfilled, when I was in
You were
great
talking in the
danger
spirit.
and I was talking the spirit and this and that. So it's someone is trying to share this with you. And then what's most interesting is that in different generations, different people are saying the same thing. Like, yeah, I also had this relationship with power. And I also prayed, and I prayed in a similar way, and my prayer was fulfilled. Or, we were punished because of this and that. So it's really about, I think if we haggle on the details, we're going to deceive ourselves. It's a bit of legalism, and it's dangerous.
But
But
I do
okay,
I do want to say this is that the Isaiah scroll that they found in Qumran was 1,000 years older than the copy they were using to write out um, Isaiah from then onwards, and it
say that
was
again.
word
Say
for
that
word.
again. Say that again.
So they had a version of Isaiah that they were using to copy from, right?
Hmm.
But then
Who's they?
with the dead, the people of the time who were basically the Jews, I guess.
Okay.
But then with the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found a copy of Isaiah, which was
Much older.
predated that by 1,000 years,
1,500, I
and
think. Yeah. Okay.
it was word for word verbatim to the copy that they were copying from 1,000 years after.
Mm.
So I don't know how much that holds up with people making mistakes here and there, because like that's pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, but even the verbatim
But what
thing has
what
been.
did you find out when they said about the whole
Okay.
12
Well,
disciples thing?
what I googled was Jesus meeting the 12 disciples after resurrection, human error. Bible accounts of Jesus meeting the disciples after his resurrection vary in their details. The Gospels report different groups, locations, and reactions. Scholars suggest these differences reflect distinct traditions and theological perspectives rather than errors in the narrative. So, differing accounts in the Gospels. The post resurrection narratives vary across the four Gospel accounts. In Matthew, Jesus meets the 11 remaining disciples on a mountain in Galilee. While some worshipped, others doubted. Mark, in the earliest manuscripts, the disciples do not see Jesus at all. They are told he has gone to Galilee. Later editions describe him appearing to the disciples while eating. In Luke, Jesus meets the disciples in Jerusalem, eats broiled fish with them, and leads them to Bethany for his ascension. In John, Jesus appears to the disciples in Jerusalem twice, once without Thomas present and once with Thomas. He also appears to them by the Sea of Galilee. The 12 verses 11 discrepancy, right? Um, The discrepancy between the 12 and the 11 is a widely discussed detail. Judas Iscariot was dead, and in some accounts, Thomas was absent, leaving only 10 or 11 disciples. Technical term. Scholars note that the Apostle Paul, writing in 1 Corinthians 15, uses the 12 as a technical title for the group of Jesus' chosen disciples, despite the actual number of individuals present. Also, Paul was not actually there, so we can forgive him for using that, I would say. Anyway, biblical scholars and historians view these variations not as simple human errors, but as intentional choices by the authors to emphasize specific theological messages. For example, the differing locations, Galilee versus Jerusalem, serve different narrative purposes in each gospel. For more context on how these narratives fit into the broader historical and theological framework, you can explore the Bart Ehrman blog or the Christian Courier article in this topic.
Yeah, we don't need to.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, look. So this is what I keep saying is that the moment you ask these questions, you immediately get painted as something. We don't really want you here at our service anymore. Thank you for showing up.
Mm.
As soon as you because you're not allowed to really question. But I think it. Look, and this is what I will say. You can always find what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're looking for the human error or whether you're looking at the reason for the human error, or like why it is there in terms of why it applies to your faith, you can find it both ways, dude. It's just like when you search anything, depending on how you type it in and what you're looking for, you will always find it, and you'll always have the perfect reason for why this is how it is. So it really is based on the individual's subjective experience of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you looking for?
He also said a few interesting things before I forget. This Rabbi Misraki, he was saying Judaism was there before all the other religions, including Buddhism, Hinduism. Now, that's horseshit.
Which I found to be strange because I thought like Buddhism
Hinduism is
was before.
ancient, brother. Hinduism is ancient, right? I just think that that's disingenuous. Or maybe he just doesn't know better, this rabbi, which I wouldn't be surprised because they're not the kind of people who are really going to inform themselves, especially not that kind of a person. I mean, I know many other Jews who are very open to learning about the world, religions, and history. And by the way, I just want to say it's weird. Some of my best friends, even people that I've met from Israel, just on my journeys, like when I'm touring through Europe or on holiday or somewhere, the most beautiful people, like lovely, like breath of fresh air, lovely. You can immediately tell this person really, maybe it's just that they liked me. I don't know. Maybe because they like the fact I have a middle name Israel or whatever. I don't know. But lovely people to me, like non-judgmental, smiling, friendly, like really beautiful people. And I just feel that people like this Rabbi Mizraki, they're just like a stain on that beautiful experience, on those beautiful souls. Do you know what I mean? Like I would equate someone like
because
this.
he straight up says it like the Jews have to keep 613 laws. That's why their path is a lot more difficult than other people. And this is why he even mentions it because of the disobedience, kicked out of all the different places that they've lived, Holocaust,
There's something else I want to check. Yeah.
All that type of stuff. But he was saying that the Gentile, which the Goyim, shout out to the Goyim, there's only 7 laws that you have to keep. And you go to a different heaven, but it's still a nice place for you guys. I don't know, it did feel a bit like condescending, right? I know you guys go over there. Don't worry about it. Just keep the 7 laws.
It is because you're retarded. So
look, I worked at a synagogue. A lot of people don't know this, but I was just doing I told you I worked in like air conditioning as well.
Yeah.
Installing air cons, outdoor units, indoor units, servicing them. Worked at like major places, but also beautiful houses. So in Cape Town, obviously, there's a massive Jewish community. So I was going to a lot of their houses. Absolute, dude, the most beautiful places, the homes, and I never like. I always thought they were cool people, dude. And it's not even that they were cool. It's these are just people, you know. And I was like, oh, like, dude, I'm talking about like I think it's the Hasidic Jews, the ones with the curly hair on the
Mm.
side and the garb. Um, so I actually had to go to the
But
synagogue.
I've never had such friends. I'll be honest. I've never had one of those.
No, I don't. I never had them as friends, but I would just interacted with them, and very high level when you go into that synagogue, dude. Security is very high, just like basically the entrance where we had to go through. Um, and I spoke to this, like we spoke to the guys, and I did feel with that one guy there was like a sense of like he didn't really greet me,
You're
didn't really
less. You're
say
unclean.
goodbye.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just like, okay, what do you want here? Type of thing. Um, which, like I said, it's maybe just that one guy, but I
yeah.
had the experience with the other wealthy ones in their homes, and they were quite friendly. And then when I was there by the synagogue, maybe he was just having a bad day. You don't know,
And
but
he's just a person.
um,
Never forget. Like he
these are
might just
just
look at you
people,
and be
dude.
like, "I
You
don't
know?
like you." It happens. It happens. So,
I, at the same time, this I don't know, dude. It's just this idea of arguing and like how many people are just straight up grifting these days,
yeah.
right? They know that people are there's like, and I'm not saying Sneako exactly, but these guys know that there's a massive audience of Muslim people. So it's like, dude, I promise you, and I told you this before, if we just have to attach uh, some type of religion to this podcast, you'll get so many different people already. If we just said, like, we've decided um, to be Muslim, there will be so many people. Oh, you're doing the right thing. And then there might even be a part where we read from the Quran and all that. Like a full on grift. And people do that without even blinking twice, dude.
Mm, mm.
And then they get into debates and arguments with people with very little knowledge, but they know that like we would then go
Generates
and look for
clicks.
people to debate against, right?
Mm.
Even though we know absolutely nothing about it. Then you would see in the chats, oh, bless brothers, you got this. It would be, and that is what's happening today. And I don't want any part of that. That's why I don't like these debates because it's like this one is saying this one is going to hell. This one is saying this one is going to hell. Um, yeah, it's just it becomes tiring, dude. It really is. Even
Yeah.
after that debate or whatever conversation, I was like, oh my gosh.
That's why I couldn't finish it
Um,
because I felt like this is a back and forth that I've heard before. And again, I think that the most powerful thing that you can have is a personal experience, right? Because you have people like this rabbi who are trying to get at you with a legalistic term, like legalistic angle. Um, but if you ask them about specific things that Jeremiah, Isaiah, Daniel said, uh, you're gonna get a little bit of a jig and a jive and a dance, okay? And same thing with Muslims as well, a jig and a jive and a dance. Same thing with Christians, very willing to sort of emphasize certain points, and then other ones where they know it's not so concrete, or where it can be interpreted differently. Oh, that's not so important. Let's focus on my points here, because I'm trying to win a debate. I don't want to get into that. I think I don't want to say believe whatever you want to believe. I say seek the truth. And whatever the truth is, it must have a real impact on your day to day life. Otherwise, it cannot be the truth, right? The same way that every day we interact with gravity. Even if you choose to believe there's a flat earth, there is an absolute truth that exists, right? It does not matter what your opinion is. Let's seek that truth. And I mean, I'm made to think right now about, for example, certain, and you've spoken about this before, witch talk. There are certain like
Yeah, witch
witches.
talk. Shout out.
There are certain people who call
I'm
themselves
joking.
witches, who called themselves witches, who had who are making decent money selling online readings over Etsy, and had massive following on TikTok because of their content. And they just turn around and they're like, you know what? I'm deleting this account. Jesus saved my life, and I had a personal encounter with him, and now I don't want anything to do with this. And you have people in that witch community, just shooting them down. Oh, you're a grifter, give back all the money from the readings, things like that. I mean, that's something you should also consider. I mean,
Look, it's the
people
same. There's a
change their
guy as
minds.
well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's a guy as well. So, I always talk about Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, yes.
Like, he's the one who has those healing retreats where people will go to like Cancun for like a week. And then there's just like a lot of things happen there with like these light beings who come down, and people will be like deaf, and then, they'll hear like crackles in their ears, and then they'll be completely healed from being deaf.
Yeah. Crack in your ears tends to do that. I'm
People
sorry.
in wheelchairs standing up, and they always talk about these like light beings.
Yeah.
This one guy who had some eye problems, he said he had a mystical experience, and this eyeball came down, and then there was another, almost like a mechanical eyeball on top of it, and it was like shooting lasers into this eyeball. And then all of a sudden, like behind it, like the whole universe basically just opens up, and like after the meditation, he was sitting there, and all of a sudden he could see basically what he couldn't see before. So there's a lot of these things that happen at these retreats. And so there was this guy, basically like the social media dude who ran Dr. Joe's online, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just listening to something inside. He ran his online presence, and basically got like millions of subscribers, or at least like 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube, and then more on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere. And he was also going to these retreats and stuff. And then he stopped, and now he's doing like exposing videos of Dr. Joe. And he's now a Christian guy. And he's talking about how, oh, they're doing snake worship to get these healings, raising up the kundalini, uh, basically saying that, it's Hinduism essentially. And it's And then he's getting a lot of views because he's
Mm.
attacking
Mm.
Dr. Jonah. Now, I'm indifferent to it. To me, I just have like questions, right? Because when he was talking about like raising up the serpent and stuff, it immediately made me think of Moses,
Mm.
where he raised up the bronze serpent, and then they said,
All who looked
whoever
upon it
views
receive.
would receive healing, right? Um, these types of things, and you know, first of all, they're talking about a serpent specifically. This is why when you go to like a hospital, you'll see that serpent
Yeah.
climbing like a staff. Uh, this is like an ancient thing, and so I wanted to comment to the guy and be like, "You're saying these things, but also like Moses did this, you know, like in many cases you could even look at that as idol worship. Here's this bronze serpent, this will heal you, right? um so then it obviously showed me, okay, this guy's grifting now, or he's ignorant to a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying go out there and do kundalini
Exercise.
meditations and
Yeah.
stuff, but then it also reminds me of like where those Jews were like attacking Jesus, and they were saying that, oh, he cast out devils, with the king of devils, Beelzebub,
Mm.
Um, and then he's like, if, I don't know if he says like Satan, but he says if devils cast out devils, then it'll be a house divided against itself, and it won't be able to stand. It'll
Mm.
fall in
Mm.
on itself or whatever. So why would like one devil do the work or work against another one? One gave you sickness, and now this other one is going to come and heal you.
Mm.
So, and I mean, this is what's written there. And then that's what people will say. Oh, you must be careful about those healings, right?
Mm.
Someone was even telling me about it the other day. A lady, like some Turkop method, he had gone blind from doing so much meth.
Oof.
And she's like a kind of like a self-proclaimed prophet, I think.
Whilst on truth.
No, this is
After.
the method is the guy that she healed.
Okay.
Um, she's just like this. I don't know what you would even call her, but um, I'll just say it's one of my aunties. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. Um, and she had like prayed for this guy's eyes, and he went to go sleep, and like he woke up, and he was like, "I see the light, I see the light," and like he could see again from after that. Um, but then it was that same thing, like, oh, you must be careful of these people. People use the devil also as powers.
Who
It's
said that?
just,
Who
it's
said that
just,
to you though? She said that to you.
it's just a lot of people around her in the circle. There's obviously whispers in families, right? Where you kind of hear all parts, and I always sit back and I think, how strange is that?
Mm.
That you can heal someone, but then that's devil stuff.
What's
Even though in the
strange?
book, it says that's not possible.
Yeah, but I mean, the question I think is more human than that. It's you pray for healing, then healing is given to someone else, and you're like, but not that, right?
Exactly.
Because
Or by someone else is what I'm saying.
yeah,
Or is
it's
what you're saying. Like maybe the person doesn't follow, because obviously my aunt or whatever, she does these other things with like dreams, right? Where
What do
she
you?
can like she kind of tells the future and stuff based off people's dreams, and they do a lot of dream work and stuff. Yeah, I got a very interesting family, dude. But anyways, I know where I get it from. That's for sure. But so she's like this prophet lady, and yeah, so even if she does one of the things and there's a miracle or something that happens, it gets pointed at like, devil worship or whatever you want to call it. Um, and then sometimes I sit back and I think, but what is the most important thing here? Is it that it came from your denomination or that the person is healed now? Like, what's more important here?
Yeah, you're. I think that's a good point again. Um, if it's not from your church, then it's devil work. Um, I mean,
And this is the problem in basically Christianity. When you have like 40 plus denominations, everybody telling the other one, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Like,
mm,
what do you think is going to happen? That is literally a house divided against itself.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even
Um,
how, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, even how, I don't even want to know if I want to talk about this rabbi again, but I found it interesting how he was referring to how
I,
the Rabbi Mizrahi, how in this debate he was saying how 70% of Jews or something in Israel, they're not even Jews. They're atheistic. They're against all God, like God in any
yeah,
form, all
because he said that's how they
religions.
were raised.
That's
They
how
were
they were
all raised
raised.
atheistic. And the thing about him is he goes against them. So it's not like he's only being like, oh, all of you guys are the problem. Like he's calling everybody out, especially them.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
is it not the same as what is happening in Christendom? Like,
no, because he's talking about, they had the biggest pride party close to Sodom and Gomorrah from the 1st to the 4th of June, this past June, um, because they are very proud to be like the gayest place on earth almost. And so he was calling that out. Uh, the problem is when these, I don't even know what you would call them. There's all these buzzwords, like Zionists or something like that, um, where nothing that they do is wrong. You don't even criticize them.
yeah,
So at least he's doing that. That's the one thing I took away from him where I was like, okay, well, at least whatever he's saying, he's at least like sticking to his guns, even with his own people. But so many of these other people are just like, like the Israel firsters are just, no, it's fine. They did nothing wrong. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a crazy world with all of the stuff that's going on, dude.
right?
But the thing, it's almost like it reminds me of like the reticular activation system. And I know this is a weird pivot, but it kind
Yeah,
of goes
yeah,
back to what I was saying before about the mirror neurons, right? So if you are in a place, in a restaurant, and then all of a sudden people start like arguing and fighting, if you even sitting with like a friend or something, what immediately happens, right? You sort of get pulled into it. And you look at them and you can't help but feel that same type of anxiety or frustration because you're like, why are these people arguing here, right? And that's like the mirror neurons. It's you're copying that. So if you are in a place where um, that's what people do, and it's like it's one of the like I would call him a mentor of mine who said, just go around a store, one that you don't know, and like just eavesdrop on the conversations, and you'll hear how these people, they'll always be complaining about something,
Mm.
and then you'll see the mirror neurons like match, and then they get that hit of dopamine because they're both complaining about something.
Mm.
And if you watch it carefully, maybe even in a home setting or whatever, you'll notice that the people who seem to be having the best conversation are actually just complaining to each other about
Mm.
something. But because the mirror neurons are matching, because they've created these neural pathways, you know, what links in the brain syncs in the brain. What fires in the brain wires in the brain.
You're
And
rhyming
so
and timing.
and so that is what's taking place. So when your neural pathways are used to that complaining and stuff, any person who comes to you and starts complaining, it literally syncs up and it's like, oh, my best friend, yeah, you should have seen what happened in traffic today, and can you really believe this? Um,
Yeah,
it's
but you
quite
know what? I'll
hilarious
be honest with
too.
you. You're not talking complete nonsense, because what I will often do, although I do this, I'll be honest, it's a bit of I wouldn't say it's a manipulation technique, but if I, for example, notice someone is quite distant, I know that I can always get them, like, distant from you. Like maybe it's someone, a handy worker who's coming and doing something, or someone is cutting your hair and he's not so talkative, it's a little bit awkward. You want to get them talking, just get them complaining about something, right? Just pick something.
Yeah,
All
did
these
you watch that
taxes.
football game last night?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Watch that.
I can't believe it.
And bam, you've got them
But it's
talkative.
sick.
Yeah, yeah, and you've got them
It's a
talkative.
sickness, dude.
I know, but
It's not.
like I said, I do this because I know that I'm gonna get them, break the ice with that. Um, which is mean, maybe it's wrong from me, but like, hey, this is social engineering. Like,
But don't make no mistake. You are only. You think that you're bringing it up because you're like, it'll get this person talking. But that's your brain mapping. You want to hear the complaints because it's
I
going to
don't.
stimulate.
It's because I'm
That's the
out.
only reason why you would do it. Your
No,
brain doesn't lie.
it's because people, listen, I
You,
know
you
what you're
can't
trying to
say, oh,
say.
it's because I want to get you talking. You want to
Yes,
go
it
that
is.
route
I
because
don't.
your mind is mapped to that route.
Here's one
Otherwise, you
thing.
would be talking about, oh, I saw this beautiful article about this golden retriever.
Yes,
You
but
know,
I've
that would
tried
get you going.
that, but it's not about getting me going. Remember, I know what you're talking about. I've learned about what you're saying, which is why I'm able to say, okay, I'm going to manipulate the situation so that I can get this person talking. And it's a last
So at
resort.
the
Neurological level, you're saying.
no, I'm saying there's a word I'm trying to get to. At the at let's just say cost. So you're willing to get this person speaking at the cost of your own happiness.
Yeah, I'm saying it's
Because
wrong.
this
I'm
is what
saying
I'll
it's
tell
wrong. I
you
know I'm saying
is
it's
that
wrong.
if you're so think about it this way. If your neurons are mapped a different way, not the complaining route, the moment that person starts complaining, you'll feel awkward. You'll be, I don't want to be in this chair anymore. You'll be like, can't this guy shut up? So the reptilian brain will not look for that. It won't seek that because it knows I don't like that. It won't enjoy that. So the only reason you would look for that to get someone talking is because your brain is mapped to enjoy it, even though you consciously deny it. It's happening. It's the brain stem, the RAS, like I mentioned earlier, reticular activating system, which gets to my point, which is it's a bit more of like, I guess, the biology behind meditation, which is, have you ever heard of a heterarchy?
Heterarchy, not a hierarchy.
No, a heterarchy. It's very interesting stuff
No.
that I learned.
Tell us about it.
So think about it this way. Obviously, you know what a hierarchy is.
Yes.
Let's say the general, the commander, the foot soldier, that type of thing. Now, a heterarchy, think of it as a community of, like a council. And there's a council, and each of them are talking and listening at the same time. And based off of the situation, they will assign whichever member who's most capable at sorting that thing out. They'll assign that member to the job. So think about it this way, like if you look at horses, right? Race horses, you've got horse A, B, and C, right? So it would, hierarchy would be like A is the winner, B comes in second, C comes in last. But a heterarchy would be like A is better than B, B is better than C, but C is better than A. And you'll be like, how is that possible? Because it's looking almost like what people say 4D. So horse A is good in the heat. Horse B is good in name whatever condition, right? And horse C is better in mud. So C is better than A. So when you're doing like this, because obviously I'm trying to talk about the meditation thing and the problem solving, this is why when you go sit in silence in nature or whatever, you actually reset the brain stem, which is the RAS, reticular activation system. By being still, you kind of undo those connections. So what happens is, if you don't do that, the way you, say for instance, it was a muddy race, and so this council of yours went with the horse C, who's good at doing that. But then there was another race, and it was a sunny day, and you still try to go with C because there wasn't a reset. You see, when you reset, this council then will decide based off of the problem you have of how to solve it. And so this is why people, when they sit in that contemplation, have these amazing epiphanies on $1 billion ideas and stuff. Because this council of neurons are deciding which faculty is going to be able to solve the problem.
I feel like you've described something. It's good, and I agree with you. I think you've described it in a slightly complicated way. To put it simply, perhaps, is to say that if you don't take the time to reflect and meditate, you'll find yourself sliding along one way of thinking day in, day out for months or even years, almost like in a conveyor belt without ever being able to reset the conveyor belt and say,
and wondering why nothing's happening.
Nothing's changing. Nothing I want to do is manifesting. I can't find the time to this. I can't do and it's true. You know, a business example I would put forward for example is this. In a business, you obviously have things that are happening, a way of doing things, a process. Maybe you're selling a shop, you're selling in a shop. You let's say you have a wholesaler and you sell goods every day to the public at discount prices. There are going to be certain crises that happen. Oh, these bags of sugar burst. We need to repackage them. People are sick, so we are understaffed. Too few of the goods that you ordered arrived, or stock is missing. Now, these are day-to-day problems that you have to solve. But if you occupy yourself with that day after day after day, you will quickly find that in your business, all you seem to be doing every day for months and even years is solving problems, which doesn't leave any time for you to strategize, to envision the way forward into the future. So, like, if you wanted to grow from one wholesaler to two wholesalers to three wholesalers to a chain of wholesalers, because what you're doing every day, and you'll find you never seem to have the time to think about how we're going to expand or how we're going to grow, because you're always dealing with the problem. Always dealing with the problem. Every day there's problems. And if someone tries to talk to you about it, like, hey, man, we should really think about the opportunities that are open for our business or for your business and to expand, you're gonna start saying things like, I don't have the time, there's always something happening, it's difficult running a warehouse or a wholesaler like I do. But you have to sit down at some point and have strategic meetings where you're not dealing simply with the problems of the day, but you're saying to yourself, all these problems aside, where do we want to go in the next 5 years? Where do we want to be in the next 10 years? How do we see ourselves going there? That's, in my mind, basically the reset that you're having, because you're having the time to sit down, reflect on where you are, reflect on where you want to be, and then you can grow. But you're doing this. Obviously now I've given a business example, but if you do this in your
No,
personal
it's a
life,
perfect example.
yeah.
And if I can make this point, inshallah.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah.
No, so think about it. And this is where I'll just give you a little bit of pushback on that. Is this is like the difference between like the founder, the executives, the managers, and the staff, and so forth.
And the entrepreneur. Anyway, okay, I guess the founder is the entrepreneur.
The founder is the entrepreneur. So he's the one, like Henry Ford or any of these people, Madam C.J.
Even
Walker.
Jeff Bezos. I know we don't like
Exactly.
it, but I mean, yeah.
These are the. I mean, look, I've released all hate. So these are the people who, basically, they're the ones who sit and do the contemplations. They have the epiphany. They set the idea forth, and they become wealthy. They hire a bunch of people. So they have a certain way of doing things, and they still, to that day, no matter how successful they've become, still find that time to sit by themselves and let things flow.
Flip, I just got to download. Continue, yeah?
Whereas those other people, the lower levels,
Executive.
they're the ones, yeah, but even as it goes further down, they're the ones who are trapped in that way, right? Like we spoke about. They solve the problem a certain way. They don't know about, resetting the mind and stuff. So that's how they come at the problem, through the methods that they think they know. that's why they can't come up with the great ideas.
Most of the
Maybe there
time.
might be
Most of the time.
one
Yeah.
guy, you know, one or two people who actually have that epiphany because, you know, they read biographies and stuff and they are able to see how founders actually do things. And then you'll notice those people rise very quickly. But the others, uh, if you sit down with them and try to discuss like the next plans, they're just gonna come with the same old stuff based on stats and like a good example. We'll get to what your download now, but like David Guillaume, like he's the one who would go there to the meetings and he would say, I have this idea that came to me last night. And they will give him, his team will give him all the reasons why that's not going to work. Like, it's a dumb idea.
And usually
And he's
those
like,
things, those
and
problems
then
will
he
be
says,
now
no, we're going
problems.
forth with it.
Yeah, usually
And then,
usually the objections will be now problems. But how are we going to
but
do that
also
because we don't
based
have?
on the stats, they'll be like, oh, but look at the metrics over here and the analytics
Yeah,
say
but
this,
that's
so
what
we
I'm
can't really
saying.
do that right
That's
now.
a now thing because remember, a statistic is a historical thing. It's not a future thing. That's something that you have to understand. To say that, oh, how are we going to be able to give everyone universal health care? Because at the moment, the healthcare system is being funded only by contributions um, of citizens, and it's only X amount. Whereas the big thinker will be saying, yeah, that's the situation right now. But if we change our trajectory, that problem will go away. Right? They're now problems, but continue. That's just what I would say. Like statistics as well. Yeah.
Your download.
It's basically like having a board of directors. The executive deals with the day to day marketing, selling, operations. The board is the one that gets to, and I can say this because I've sat on a board before, not of a massive Fortune 500 company, but where you sit down. It's people from usually different fields, right? Different backgrounds. One is more science, one is more engineering, one is an academic, and then someone like myself. And you sit there and you're thinking. That's your job as a board member. You're sitting there and you're thinking about things like, how can we expand? How can we transform into the digital age? How can we, you understand, you're sitting there basically in a group meditative state. And bringing it back to what you said about the heterarchy, that's what it is, right? You said this council that sits and decides what to do next.
But it's more about if think about if everybody on that board, and this is why I said I had to push back on it, was because um, it would be implying that everybody before they started speaking sat in silence for 20 minutes.
But it doesn't even
Let those pathways break so that fresh ideas can come in.
But what
This is why the founder can bring ideas to the table and they go, oh wow, we never even thought about that.
Yeah, but it's never like that because what happens is you're right. There are like ideas where people say like, oh, we never thought about that. But remember this: the board member has the time to even listen to what you're saying because the employee is only thinking about, oh, I've got a heap of work that I've got to do, reports I've got to write, I've got to have this meeting about this production process, whatever. The board member, simply by virtue of not being stuck in the day-to-day grind, even has the possibility of listening to that and saying, oh, that's a great idea, or let's come up with a vision, you know. What I was just trying to say, I don't want to get into the minutia of it, but I just want to say basically, the way I would put it is, when's the last time your board of directors has sat down to contemplate the future? Does that make sense? Like your heterarchy, this council you're talking about, that happens when you're
You mean me personally, or just to the general person?
general person, you know? I mean,
Um.
I told
So
you,
so
for example, I do that all the time. Every day,
um.
I have 30 minutes where I'm sure I look like a crazy person, just like staring into space, you know? And I'm like moving between the past, the
And you're
present,
like,
the future. No, I'm coming back. No, but like,
oh, I'm trying to get back.
yeah, but that's what you need. You need to
But what
sit
I'm
and,
saying
yeah.
is that um, it's more about. So the one thing I learned is that it's more about consistency than intensity. So
Yes.
people will be like, "Oh, I sat down for 3 hours on Saturday in pure silence." It's like, no, the person who's doing it for 10 minutes every day
Going
is
further.
doing way more work than you are.
Just because you did it 3
Um,
hours once a month or
bec-
something.
no, just because you're going for intensity. Oh, I had this like moment of profound clarity. But the other person is just taking those 10 minutes. And this is how people should look at it, because, people want to be all sciencey and stuff. Look at it in a way of, if I want new ideas, I have to do this. Just go sit quietly for 20 minutes, not trying to, like, take no thought. And the thing is, thoughts are going to run through your mind. Obviously, it's like it's impossible to stop thoughts, unless you're like me or like a true monk or something. Um, and I've only been able to get up to bouts of like 5 minutes of no thought. And it's the
Mm.
strangest thing you'll ever experience. There's like this weird, in the beginning, there was this weird anxiety that I'm in this like gap of forever. And it's a weird place to be in, because you realize like the neurons, the neural pathways, they all reaching for that familiarity of something. The EMI, which is the I wanted to say electromagnetic interference, but it's the ego mind identity. That's like your false self.
Mm.
And it kind of actually segues perfectly into what I want to say to kind of wrap this thing up. But if we've done enough time, I told you I got to do these other things as well. But basically, if those neural connections is based off of this identity we have, this self concept that we've created of ourselves, things that happen as we were growing up. Like, I'll give you a very interesting example, personal example. And I remembered it so clearly the other day. I was like very young, dude. Grade 5 or grade 6. Grade 6. And there was this chick in the neighborhood, and this Italian chick, and I was like, we kind of liked each other. And I don't know what happened, but, well, first of all, I always used to get chased away from her house by her dad, you know. I had to like time it perfectly. Like, the mom liked me. She would
Mm.
allow me to go into the house. Um, but then she'd be like, oh, he's going to be here soon.
Oh,
You
gee.
might want to start moving. Right. So I would like walk around. But dude, you know how many times like I got to the stop street coming out of like their little area, and then I would see his car, and he would just like, you would look at me because he knows where I just came from. And he used to complain to them, I don't want that boy here, whatever, whatever. Um, I don't know, racist, I guess. But then what happened was a friend of mine like started dating her, dude. And I just remember this moment happening. And I even remember we would like walk to the shop, and I was looking at the situation and I felt that um just like that disappointment, right? So those neural pathways took a snapshot, think, and it froze that memory in time with that emotion. And people want to say, oh, manifestation and all that stuff is false, but no, there's actually science behind it. It takes a snapshot, right, of this moment where here's a girl that I like, but my friend ends up with her, right?
Mm.
That same pattern then literally played out, I want to say like 7 times in my life, even as recent as like 3 years ago. Because that neural pathway took a snapshot. And unless you do this type of work, sitting down, undoing those connections, replacing them with connections that you want, that's why the things keep repeating in a person's life the whole time. So this is goes back to my point of the like this false self of you who like you want to do other things, but for some reason you're always doing like the same situations keep appearing up in your
Because you are
life.
doing the same things. That's
You're
it.
it's because remember you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And I know it's like a very cliche bumper sticker type of thing people always say, but it's the actual truth. And it all comes down to your self concept. And it's
Mm.
so important, dude. And I never understood it the way I do now. And I look at all these texts, like the Bible, and I mean, from the beginning of the self help to the end of the self help section, they all have these different modalities and modules and different practices and all these things. And then it only clicked not too long ago that all that is happening, dude, even people who go to Joe Dispenza's thing, these people who were like paralyzed, right? These people who had cancers that had metastasized, it's in the bone now, right? The doctors will say 2 months to live, get your affairs in order. And then everything is gone. The one dude was talking about he had tumors the size of oranges in his
Mm.
body. The doctors are like, where's it all gone? Like,
Mm.
how's this even possible? And they all, and I've been just trying to go through all of this with a fine tooth comb, right? Trying to figure out what is going on, that you know the thread that I can link between all the different modalities. And then it hit me. It's the self concept. Because the one thing that all these people said, and look here, we're talking about health, wealth, and love. It's not just about
Everything,
health.
yeah.
Because the one guy even spoke, his his company was flat, basically about to go bankrupt at like 3-4 million or something. Um, he's literally hitting 58 to 60 million a year later, like a radical shift where like how can this even be possible? And then I figured it out. It's the self concept. So those people, they will say the same thing. You'll hear it repeated. I literally have a playlist of like 880 testimonials of people on YouTube, and they all say the same thing. Oh, the problems I was experiencing, that was in the old person. I'm a new person now. Their self concept has changed. And so all the issues that they had just melts away and dissolves.
I think
Um,
there's a scientific basis to what you're saying because, um, and I really should do the job of finding that interview again. I was telling you about that. I believe he's a Nobel laureate, that biologist, a gentleman in his advanced age. And
I think maybe you're talking about Bruce Lipton.
Could be, but he's not like a fringe biologist or something, or like a spiritualist or something. He's just a biologist, right? And he specifically discussed, the idea which took hold in the 60s and 70s that DNA explains everything that we are. It's not true at the microbiological level. There's something else that is determining how DNA replicates itself and more. And so I would say that opens the room for basically what I'm saying is when you rebuild those neural pathways, when you reset the system, you're giving because your mind orchestrates everything within your body, right? So basically you're giving your body a chance through your new neural pathways and your reset to change your physical anatomy, right? Because strictly speaking, your body has all the tools it needs to heal itself. It regenerates itself all the time. Cancer is just your body not replicating itself properly for some reason, right? For some reason, it's not replicating cells properly. For some reason, it's not eliminating a certain foreign body, or it's not healing itself, it's not renewing itself, which actually it was before. And maybe that's the doorway right there,
It's because of the rewiring.
the
So
rewiring.
because it's the neural pathways are so they like I said, that snapshot. And I really think that it's so important for people to realize that. Especially for me, I had like the epiphany, like, oh my goodness, the same thing has been playing out for decades. And I always wondered why. Like,
Yeah.
I like the girl, she likes me, and then somehow or another, someone who's like fairly close to me ends up with her. And I mean, some people will call it inner child work. These are just names. All you're doing, and this is why it's so important to sit in stillness, because every second that you are still, you are unwiring those pathways. Like, really think about how powerful that is. Every second you are still, you are healing. Whether that's your ideas on how much money you're supposed to earn, sickness in the body, why you have relationship issues, will literally start to disconnect. And in that state of what's known as the generous present moment, all potential is open. That's where you start using your imagination to almost craft your dream life.
That's powerful, man.
Something,
I
yeah,
really
something I
like
wanted
that.
to say.
You
Yeah.
should write a book, my friend. I'll help you. Yeah, I told you this before that I told you this before.
Oh, wait,
I
but
don't know if
before you
I
say
ever
that,
have those. Yeah, okay, continue.
look, so what you were talking about, because it's important, is what's known as fermions and bosons. Those are like the two things that we are created, that create us, essentially. So it's light particles, it's photons. These things are moving in and out of our reality and empty space. I think it's like at the speed of 10 to the power of 80 or something crazy like that. So you are going in and out. Your cells are literally dying and regrowing or coming into life at the craziest speed.
Not even
So
cells, like
technically,
you're
you
going
should,
beyond cells. You're going deeper than you're
yeah,
saying the
like
very
down to the subatomic particles,
yes.
down to the molecular level. Like that's what it just in our finite sense of the world, we perceive it as cells, obviously, but down at the subatomic levels, it's just atoms and
Not even, but more. I get what you're saying. I understand
yeah,
what
you
you're
know what
saying.
I'm
Yeah.
saying. So you should technically walk from one room to the next room. You're not even the same person who was in the room before that.
Mm. but you
Think about that.
keep drawing,
But you're
remaking
wired
yourself.
like that, so you keep exactly.
You keep remaking
Keep-
yourself in the same image and the same problems, but in actual fact, the potential exists. The moment I stand up from this chair and walk out that door, I'm a new man, like that.
Completely.
And that's
so
also
this is
something
yeah,
that sorry, it's so trippy that
No,
that's
I'm
what
excited. That's why.
it's so trippy that this is what actually repentance means. Many people
The new
rep-
creature.
yeah, like when translating the Greek into the Latin, they translated it into remorse, basically repentance. But actually, the Greek word means transformation. So, you know, go forth and sin no more, or be remade. Like just going
Be
into the water
renewed
and
by
coming
the
up. It's a symbolic.
be
It's a
transformed by the renewal of your
of your
mind.
minds.
Think about
Bingo! Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
it.
And
What I'm
that's what
saying
we
is
should be focusing
the
on.
whole Bible.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. The whole thing is teaching you how to shift your identity through these people until you get to the risen Christ within you, the new creature, the new man. That's what it's teaching you.
Yes, you're right. And now try and say that in a church. Yes, the
Oh
people
my
who
god, get out!
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
So I've become, especially over the last few days, I've become very excited. I mean, you can see I light up when I talk about these things,
yeah.
dude.
I'm excited. I mean, I feel my cells tingling. I feel my skin
The
tingling
mirror
just because of
neurons, dude.
yeah, yeah. It's
um,
it's
yeah.
really thank you for bringing that up. I need to I don't know. I don't want to make the excuse of because of my work. I'm very much in the material, very much in the nitty gritty of this world. But that's why I'm grateful for friends like you. I mean, when I seem to be forgetting my mission, and it's like I feel like you remind me, and then I remind you, and then you come back and you remind me, and that's why we keep each other on the path, and we keep each other honest, as it were. So, thank you for that. That is very.
And it's
I'm
being
taking that
dude.
with me.
Like I
And it's
wouldn't be
recorded,
able.
so we can
That's what
always,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
No, so that's the thing. Like there might be one person out there who listens to it and goes, "Oh my goodness, I had this epiphany." It's the thing that I needed to hear at the time, you know? And that might be at a time when, like, we're gone. Think about it. This is just going to be on the internet. Someone might find it, you know? Someone who isn't even born yet.
Do you wanna I know we usually do the 2-minute meditation. We can do that at the end, but do you wanna, if you feel up to it, take us through? You spoke to me about and we did the little exercise on
Oh,
value
values elicitation.
value
Wow.
solicitation. So just give a
Elicitation.
1 to 2 minute backdrop and then go straight into the exercise. And we're just gonna do it with
Okay, this is vital. So all of this has got to do with self-concept, right? Not self-esteem. Self-esteem is what you get when you like your self-concept, right? And these things are built on values. Value. And I always used to cringe when I heard that. When people used to talk about, oh, then these are our company's values. And I realized that, oh, I don't know what they're talking about. That's why I didn't like it. You know, and this is how I can, through doing values elicitation, I can, I'm explaining what I mean. So I will walk someone through the process. And this is what I do on myself. It's the most powerful when you're doing the work on yourself, dude.
Mm.
So, for instance, let's just use one that people are always fond of, which is money. So, let's look at career. So, say if I'm
Korea,
talking to my
not
career,
Korea.
yes,
Okay, sorry.
or career.
Okay.
Anyways, so basically, your job. So you would ask the person in this case
Don't
is myself.
hypothetical. Okay, you're explaining quickly.
Okay.
Okay.
No, no, I'm explaining it. So it'll be like, oh, I want more income in my career. Then through values elicitation, you have certain questions. It's not rocket science. You could ask yourself any question, which is like, what does having more income provide for you? Oh well, obviously if I have more money, I'm able to buy the things that I want. Okay, what does buying the things you want do for you? Well, and it's very good when you actually think, when you like really think about it, because now you're going into your subconscious to bring up these things. Well, I guess that being able to buy whatever I want means that I don't have to worry about money. Okay. And then once again, what does not worrying about money do for you? Well, it actually gives me a sense of peace, right? Because I don't have to worry anymore. Okay, cool. Peace is a value. So like you'd write that down. Um, what does peace do for you? Well, if I'm at peace, I guess I'm just happy. Okay, happy is another value. And what does happiness do for you? Well, it fills me with joy. I'm free. I'm free. So now you got joy and you got freedom. Okay, so these are like, now you see what you're getting to underneath the what the money is. Oh, I want money, but now you're actually getting to the core of the values that you actually want. Okay, I want freedom. Oh, I want joy. Okay, so what does joy do for you? I don't know. I just feel fulfilled. Once you start getting to those vague generalizations, you know you've hit the point. Now you've hit your core value, which is joy. So then you do what's called values hierarchy. And then so now you have those list of things. If I can, and obviously other people are
I
different, right?
I
Some
I, I
people,
almost wanna interrupt you just so you can do this with me right now. Take me through this process right now because you're already speaking some of the
okay,
things that.
cool. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. It's just,
Okay, just take me through
I'll be
it
able,
straight.
I also need to pee, that's which is very rare, but I can hold it till the end of this.
Okay,
But now you got me excited to do this.
okay. Take me through this straight. No
Okay.
more hypotheticals. We're now beginning session.
Okay, Umguni. Um, what area of your life do you want to see some progress in? Health, wealth, or love?
Health, wealth. I feel
Health.
like I already have. Yeah, I already have health. I have love. Um, and for my loves, I would like more wealth.
Okay, so you want wealth. Um, this is in your career or in what way?
It can be, let's say, I want my income to be independent of my time. So basically, not just career. Um, yes. Let's say, essentially, I think eventually, um, self-employment
But
or something like that.
it would still be your career, right? Even
Yes,
if
it's
you
still my
were,
career. Yeah.
you're right. So it's i- income based in career. Okay, so what are the things that having income will provide for you?
sense of security, sense of stability, and freedom.
Okay. Security, stability, and freedom. Uh, let's look at what does stability provide for you?
Just being able to look at my family and knowing that no matter what happens to me, they will have the opportunity to not be constrained, but to live their lives, like to pursue their purpose, you know,
Okay, and what does security do for you?
give me peace,
Okay,
a sense of peace at
um,
least.
and I should actually reframe that. That's my mistake. I should be asking, what does stability provide you in your career? Because we need to, because otherwise you can go off on like separate things. But we're specifically talking about career, which you'll notice will change things vastly
Okay, what does stability bring me in my career?
in your career.
Development, progress, yeah.
Development and progress. Okay, what does security do for you? What does it do for you in regards to your career?
Remove stress, remove stress.
Okay,
Uncertainty,
so
you know, yeah.
a key thing that I want you to consider is when you're speaking, speak in positives,
Okay,
not negatives.
okay.
You know,
Calm.
as best
Let
as
me
you
say
can.
calm, calm, and surety.
Okay, so um, just obviously I'm trying to remember it. Normally, you know, you'd be writing it down. So you went for, let's go with calm. What does being calm do for you in your career?
Give me peace and confidence.
Okay, so let's go with, what does confidence do for you in your career?
Power.
Po- What does power do for you?
I don't want to say joy, but yeah, I suppose that would lead to
Joy. You see, you see that pause. That's what you want because you're really searching. That's like, if that's not happening, you're not really digging deep. So joy. Okay, cool. And what does joy do for you in your career?
happiness and
Happiness.
purpose.
And what does, okay, so purpose is, now we gone vague, right? Purpose is like fulfillment. Um, so now we know happiness, right? So I'm just gonna try remember some of the values, but we hit that thing which is happiness. Okay, so um, if in your career, if you had to choose development or happiness, or actually in your career, would you rather choose stability or happiness?
Happiness.
Okay, because now we're doing the values hierarchy, right? We want to now know which one means the most to you, happiness or security.
Happiness.
Happiness. And keep in mind when I'm asking this, basically, if you could only have one of the two that I'm asking forever, so that really puts a bit of pressure on you. Happiness or freedom? Because I remember you said that in the beginning.
To me, they're almost synonymous.
In your career.
Freedom.
Oh, okay.
I would say
So
freedom is almost, yeah.
remember, um, so you can be free in your career and never be happy.
I know. Okay, I'll say happy.
Freedom to do what. So
Happy.
that's what I'm saying. Like, really think about it. Um, and this is the deep work. Anyways, trying to think. Uh, yeah, happiness or security in your career.
I think you already asked, but I think happiness. I think happiness,
Uh,
peace is the only thing that would maybe trump
happiness
happiness.
or peace
Peace.
in your career.
Yeah, peace. I mean, because peace
So
for me is the real root of happiness, if I'm imagining. Like,
so think about it. In your career forever, you'll have peace, right? You'll have peace, but you just won't be happy.
happiness.
Okay. You see how it, like, when you really think about it, you go like, and that's the brilliant point. And then the last one was happiness or joy.
Joy.
It's very close, but it's also very subtle
Mm.
in your career.
Joy.
Ooh.
I mean, joy is.
Joy's one of my favorite ones, obviously. So I'm just gonna do this quick because we are running on a bit long with it. Because this is like its own separate thing. So first you would say joy, then you would say happiness, then you would say peace, and then you would say, like security or freedom.
Mm.
Then you would say, and there's a little bit more work you can do. You can start putting up like peace and freedom, peace and happiness. Okay, but happiness already beats it. Those types of things. You can really put it out there, and then you have like 9 values essentially. So here comes the other question: are you representing joy in your career right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I was not expecting that, but at least you're being honest. Are you representing happiness in your career right now?
No.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. Like at this moment,
No, it is. It's the only way.
I'm saying like
because
I love what I
for
do.
me it's heavy, like, because I've been doing this on to myself, and it hits some heavy places within you, and you're like truly being honest. And let's say, are you representing peace in your career right now?
No.
Okay, so I'll just ask freedom in your career right now.
No.
Okay. So now obviously most and this isn't psychiatry or psychology or any of that nonsense. They'll basically leave you here, right? Which is like one of the big problems. So now what you want to do is, and this is why your values are so important. Now you want to realize that you are those things, though. You just don't. You're just not thinking about it right now. So, for instance, like you can remember a time when you've had joy, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So um what was that memory? Explain it a little bit.
When
Even
my
in your career,
career
you
or
know.
personal life.
Let's stick with the career. And it can be in anything. Remember, don't be too harsh on yourself. So it could even be selling a bottle of wine, that you made or something. These are big things. Like, and
Yeah,
I'm trying not
when
to lead you as well, which is what I'm not supposed to do. But
happiness was when
well, joy. We had
joy,
joy now.
when I guess when I was still in Botswana and I was working for that oil production company and I saw those women that were so happy selling their raw materials to us. They needed the money and I could give them whop loads of cash because it was so beautiful because we were getting what we needed and they were so happy for what they were getting and it was a perfect win-win. It was like
Perfect win-win.
it was a perfect win-win. Like no one was cheated, nothing was there was no it was a beautiful feeling. It's like, you know, everyone gets what they want. Everyone got what they want. Yeah.
Okay, so you're feeling that feeling right now.
Yeah.
Okay, now based off of that feeling, um, look at certain moments in your mind uh, with that feeling of joy in your career. You know, use your imagination a bit, like visualize things.
Mm.
Right. So, you even think of it like a collage of the joy you feel because you got the car because of your career, right? The house, the trips you can take with your family, the things you can buy, and just see it all in front of you, right? And then, right in the middle of it, I want you to see yourself standing there and the version of you that's just filled with that joy. Like, how does he look? How does his skin look? Like, is he muscular? Like, what's that? Is there that glow in his eye of the joy?
There's a twinkle. There's a definite twinkle.
And you can feel it.
Yeah, and there's a calm.
Okay, that's good. Now I want you to. I hope you're closing your eyes for this, but um, from your chest where you feel that joy, and this image is in front of you, right? Let this like strand of that light connect to the image.
Yes.
Okay, now grab a hold of the light strand and pull it. Start pulling it slowly towards yourself. Get it to a point where you're like, oh, this is a little bit too close. And tell
Hmm?
me when you get to that point. Now, push it back slightly to the point where it's kind of like pulling you towards it. It's very
Got
subtle. You'll
it.
find that little, you
Got
got it.
it.
Okay, then just sit with that in silence. okay, you're done. And now just let it go. Clear it from your mind completely. Um, and that's the whole process of like true. Anyways, first of all, how do you feel? I'm going on a tangent here.
I feel energized, not in a overexcited way, just in a
So this is where you know you've hit a nice place, right? Because you found that balance between the things that you want. But now you know that all you have to do in order to realize all those things that you saw is what? Be in the state of joy. And so all your behaviors and things is now going to be about joy. You know, joy playing with your child, joy smiling at your wife, joy greeting a friend at work, joy finishing a project, and everything that doesn't serve that. I mean, you're not going to even look at anymore. And that is what becomes the self fulfilling prophecy because you're starting at what really matters to you, what you really value. And that's basically the saying seek ye first the kingdom, and then all these things will be added unto you.
amen. Amen.
Let's do 2 minutes there to wrap this up.
Yeah.
This very strange podcast, but we did it. I'm going to say thank you. Let's just rest in receptivity. And then I'll say thank you to end it. Thank you. Thank you.